Get your act together.
Get organized and do things effectively. For example, she's so disorganized, I wish she'd get her act together.
Hit the sack.
Go to sleep. For example, she has a busy day tomorrow, so she thinks she will hit the sack.
Good things come to those who wait.
To have patience. For example, after facing numerous rejections, she remained patient and believed that good things come to those who wait.
Cut corners.
Doing something in an easier and least expensive manner. For example, she cannot cut corners if she wants to do a perfect job.
A cold day in July.
Something that will never happen. For example, you'll find me jogging willingly when it's a cold day in July.
All wet.
Completely mistaken. For example, he insisted that our assumptions were all wet.
Blood and thunder.
Dramatic, spectacular performance. For example, Tom likes to watch blood and thunder stories on television.
A snowball's chance in hell.
To be very unlikely to succeed at something. For example, if he can't afford a good lawyer, he doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning the case.
A cut above the rest.
Much better than other similar people or things. For example, his culinary skills were a cut above the rest, making him the top chef in town.
Have the world at one's feet.
To be extremely successful. For example, after winning the championship, he seemed to have the world at his feet.
A bad egg.
The person may appear good on the outside but is untrustworthy or has bad qualities. For example, despite his charming demeanor, he turned out to be a bad egg in the company.
A sleeping partner.
A partner who doesn't do any work. For example, he is a sleeping partner and has no hand in the management.
Between the devil and deep sea.
Between two dangers that are equally harmful. For example, when I was a student, I was always caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, having to choose whether to buy food or my bus pass each month.
To strain every nerve.
To try as hard as you can. For example, she's straining every nerve to get the work finished on time.
To turn up one's nose.
To refuse something, especially when you don't think it is good enough. For example, my son would never turn his nose up to any kind of food. He'll eat anything.
Down in the dumps.
Feeling unhappy or depressed. For example, she's a bit down in the dumps because she failed one of her exams.
Dutch courage.
Courage inspired by alcohol. For example, he needed some Dutch courage before facing his boss about the pay increase.
To make one's mouth water.
To make someone hungry. For example, that beautiful salad makes my mouth water.
Mare's nest.
Confusing situation. For example, the tax laws in this country are a mare's nest that nobody fully understands.
The in thing.
Something fashionable. For example, deep V-necks are becoming the in thing for wedding dresses lately.
The real McCoy.
Genuine or not fake. For example, the dress had a designer label, but I couldn't tell if it was the real McCoy or a cheap imitation.
Have the time of your life.
To enjoy oneself very much. For example, he looked like he was having the time of his life.
Pop the question.
Propose marriage. For example, when he popped the question, she said yes, without a further thought.
All Greek to me.
Difficult or impossible to understand. For example, my brothers were having a discussion about the latest football fiasco, but it was all Greek to me.
Finding your feet.
Stand up and become able to walk. For example, I think she really started to find her feet with this album.
Hocus pocus.
Trickery, words, actions, etc., which are intended to deceive or mislead. For example, the people were not deceived by the political hocus pocus of the prospective candidate.
Finger lickin' good.
Very delicious or tasty. For example, these ribs are finger-licking good, Mom. Got any more?
Chow down.
To eat, often quickly or enthusiastically. For example, the puppy started chowing down the minute I sat down his food bowl.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Extreme and undesirable circumstances or situations can only be resolved by resorting to equally extreme actions. For example, when the flood hit their village, they used their furniture to make a raft. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Scot-free.
Without suffering any punishment or injury. For example, despite the evidence, the suspect walked away scot-free from the courtroom, much to everyone's surprise.
Joshing me.
Someone joking with you. For example, Robert said he won the lottery, but as it turned out, he was just joshing me.
Add fuel to the fire.
To make an argument or bad situation worse. For example, when he laughed at her mistake, it only added fuel to the fire, making her even more embarrassed and angry.
Third time's a charm.
The belief or hope that the third attempt at something will be successful. For example, he had failed his driving test twice already, so hopefully the third time's the charm.
Down to the wire.
Until the last possible second. For example, the project deadline was approaching fast, and it was down to the wire for the team to complete all the tasks on time.
Come hell or high water.
No matter what, in spite of any obstacle. For example, he was determined to finish the marathon, come hell or high water, even if he had to push through the toughest weather conditions.